Hey guys, welcome back. And today we are going to be going over the top 15 defensive tackles heading into the college football season as we look ahead to the 2025 NFL draft. This class is absolutely loaded. I think there's five or six guys. The top five or six are first round caliber, and there's a lot of really good depth in this class as well. So we're going to be going over the top 15. Now, before we get into it, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you are new. Also, be sure to sign up for Underdog Fantasy using my code JWAC to get double your initial deposit, and check out our Patreon. On the Patreon, you guys will get exclusive access to my draft guide. So you guys will get to see the guys that just missed the cut, why they missed the cut, read my evaluations, look at my big board. Almost 300 players studied so far in this class. Had a ton of fun with this group so far. So if you guys want that, it's $5 a month. If you guys want more NFL draft content, I highly recommend it. But we're going to be looking at this defensive tackle class. And like I said, it's a very good one. There are some guys that missed the cut. I know people are going to ask about Thor Griffith from Louisville. He is one of the guys on the outside looking in. Joshua Farmer from Florida State is another one of those guys, as well as Davin Van from NC State. Just a few of the guys that have some hype around them, but Ty Hamilton as well from Ohio State, I believe, is at number 16. So there's quite a few guys that missed the cut, but this is my top 15. Let me know what your guys' list is down below. Starting off with number 15, and that is going to be Joey Slackman at Florida, transferred in from Penn. He's been very good in the Ivy League, in the FCS. He's a very good run defender. Per PFF, he was one of the best run defenders in all of college football last season. He knows how to get into the backfield. He penetrates the gaps extremely well. He's a fluid mover. He's got a good, quick first step. But outside of that, I don't think his athleticism is that amazing. I don't think he keeps his foot on the gas consistently. But he's got solid size. I believe he's around 6'3", 305. He's got good hands, and he shows some pass rush upside. As a pass rusher, he's a little bit unpolished. He's got some work to do, but the upside is there. He's got good hands. I will say his power was something that I was a little bit concerned about. Didn't really have a strong bull rush. Didn't really like to utilize that power very often. So that's an area I'd like to see improve. And he's obviously coming from an FCS competition level. Florida's got a couple of guys on that defensive line that are going to be really interesting to watch. I think Slackman is at the top of my watch list for this team. They've got some guys. I like what he shows. I think he's got upside. I've got him at number 15. Him, Ty Hamilton, Thor Griffith, those guys are all really close. But I think he's a little bit more well-rounded, so that's why he's at number 15. At number 14, we've got TJ Sanders from South Carolina. Now, the other South Carolina defensive tackle, Tonka Hemingway, didn't make my top 15. So I know that one might be a bit surprising to some people. TJ Sanders is really, really good. Great size. I believe he's around 6'4", 310. He's got great length for the position. Long arms. He's tall. I love that for my defensive tackles. He's really athletic, though. I think that was the thing that really stood out. He's got quick burst, but it goes a little bit further than that. He's got some crackdown run speed where he can track guys down. He's got the ability to do that, but he also got skinny into the backfield and was an unbelievable run defender. He just knew how to leverage himself, use his hands, get into the backfield, and make some plays happen as a run defender, and I really, really liked to see that. Now, as a pass rusher, not very polished. He was very stiff, didn't have a lot of pass rush moves that he went to, so that's something we're going to be watching. Physicality, wasn't super strong, wasn't super physical, so that's another thing that is a bit concerning for a guy that's going to be on the defensive line. And his play strength got pushed around, bodied by some bigger, more physical offensive linemen way too often to my liking. But that being said, I love the athleticism, I love the run defense, I love the size, and I think if he can develop as a pass rusher, he could sneak into the top 10. I like what he shows, but I got TJ Sanders at 14. At number 13 on the list, we've got Aeneas Peebles. Now, if you guys do want to go check out the Patreon, I did an interview with Aeneas Peebles, so that is going to be up there. And I like Peebles. I think he's got some upside. He's a very explosive player. He's got his foot on the gas at all times, amazing burst, great quickness off the line of scrimmage, and he showed some pass rush potential that I think is one of the highest in this class. He had a good spin move. He had a good swim move. He's got the quickness to win inside. He's a good run defender. I don't think he's a great run defender. He does it well, but he thrives as a pass rusher. The big issue with him, though, is he just played out of control, had missed tackles. His play strength was up and down, was not a very powerful player, didn't have great change of direction, and he struggled to take on double teams. So I think a lot of this does stem from he's got to get a little bit stronger. He's got to get a little bit stronger in the lower body, hold his anchor a little bit better. The missed tackles, take some bad angles and run defense from time to time. But I do think he's a really good player. He's transferring from Duke to Virginia Tech. He's going to be on a defensive line that was very good against the run. So hopefully we can see a little bit more growth from him as a run defender. But he's a really, really good player. And I've got him at number 13. I've got like a third-round grade on him at the moment. At number 12, we've got Nazir Stackhouse. Now, a guy that I watch other content creators talk about this defensive tackle class. I haven't heard Nazir Stackhouse mentioned. This is a guy who I thought could have come out last year. I thought he was a pretty talented defensive tackle prospect, and nobody seems to like him. I posted on my Twitter about him, got to talk to a couple people. Nazir Stackhouse is a good football player. I don't understand what the opinion is why he should be an undrafted free agent, like I've seen some people say. I think that's absolutely absurd. He's an absolute tank. I mean, this guy's around 320, 6'5". He's one of the best run defenders in this class. He's strong. He closes the gaps. He's got physicality, and he flashes some pass rush potential. I think he's a better athlete than we give him credit for. He showed some pass rush moves. He showed a swim. He doesn't have enough that's like super consistent that's all pieced together yet, but the upside's there. He's got to work on his power, though. I think that's really where it comes down. Not a very powerful player, didn't have a strong bull rush, was not super strong, took some bad angles at times as a run defender, but he's a great run defender. He's got great size. He's a sneaky good athlete, and he's coming from Georgia. Georgia produces these guys every year. I don't think we should be sleeping on the Georgia Bulldogs defensive line. I've got a third-round grade on him. I think he's got a lot of tools. He's got to improve as a pass rusher. He's got to get more powerful. But if he can do that, I think he's going to be a good player. Even if he's a single gap penetrator at the next level, Nazir Stackhouse has skills that are going to translate well to the NFL, and that's why I've got him at number 12. At number 11, we've got Howard Cross from Notre Dame, just outside the top 10. I like Cross. I think he's a good player. I think he's a solid athlete. I think he's got really, really good hand placement. That's what I really loved about really the next three guys is the hand placement on these guys is absolutely out of this world, particularly number 10. He's got pass rush potential, and I think that's something that we've seen with Notre Dame over the last few years. Howard Cross can rush the passer at a very good level, and he's done it pretty well. He can stuff the run. He's a pretty solid athlete with quickness. He's slightly undersized, though, under 300 pounds, so I'd like to see him get a little bit stronger. And he's an older prospect. He's been at Notre Dame for, it seems like, forever at this point, where his age is going to be something that I think pushes him down boards, in all honesty. And then I think the big area of improvement I need to see from Howard Cross is his play strength and disengaging with blockers. He got too stiff at times and just didn't really know what moves to go into, how to disengage with blockers. That was far too often. I think he's a good run defender. He's a good pass rusher. He's got good hands. I don't think he's great at anything. I think he's good at a lot of things. And I've got jack of all trades, master of none sort of prospect for me with Howard Cross. I've got him at number 11. I still think he's a second, third round player. Good defensive tackle, but I got him at number 11. At number 10, we've got Alfred Collins from Texas, a guy who I was unsure what I was going to think of when I went into it. I wasn't high on Byron Murphy as the consensus. I love T'Vondre Sweat. He's kind of the best of both worlds. I'm not saying he's better than either of those prospects because I don't think he is, but excellent size on the interior of that defensive line. He's a good athlete. He's got good quickness, good burst, moves really well in space. And we talked about the hands. I wish I had some highlights I could show in this one, but he just knew how to leverage his hands, get into the right moves, get offensive linemen disengaged. He was excellent at that. He was creating pressure, particularly in the Oklahoma game. If you go back and watch that, he was everywhere in that game. Obviously was not an every down player for Texas, was a rotational piece for that defensive line. He played out of control at times, which led to some missed tackles, just too light on his feet, and his play strength was lacking. A lot of those stem from his play strength. So if he can improve that, I think he could be one of the best tackles in this class because his upside is tremendous, I think. I love what I've seen from him. I love his hands. I think he's got pass rush potential. He's a good run defender. He's just got to improve at wrapping up in terms of tackling. But big fan of Alfred Collins. I got him at number 10. At number 9, we've got Bear Alexander from USC. I like Bear Alexander as well. Really disciplined run defender who understood leverage at a very high level. He understood how to leverage himself, get into the backfield, penetrate these gaps. That's what I loved about Bear Alexander. He's a super athletic player with fantastic speed. He's got great hands. He's powerful. He's got a bull rush that I think is really, really talented. I love what I see from him. Was a highly recruited player, went to Georgia, transferred to USC, and then entered the portal, and then decided to come back to USC. I think he's unpolished as a pass rusher. I think that's one of the big concerns I have with him. Doesn't have a lot of pass rush moves. Doesn't really show a ton of upside in that area, so I'd like to see that improve from him. I think his play strength was oddly inconsistent. There were times where he looked really good. He looked strong, could push the pocket. Other times, it was just not there. He was pushed off balance. I think he's a good player. Obviously, USC's had a horrible defense. He has been one of the bright spots, if not the best player on this defense over the last few seasons. I'm a big fan of Bear Alexander. Once again, I've got him as a second-round player in this class. And I think he's going to be a great player at the next level. I've got him at number 9. At number 8, we've got Riley Mills, the other Notre Dame defensive tackle. I thought he was going to come out last year, and he would have been a top 10 tackle for me last year. So what does that say about the rest of these guys on this class? He's a super powerful player. He's got this nasty to him that you don't see from a lot of players. He wants to get physical. He wants to tackle, and he plays with fantastic power. He's got a really good bull rush. He's got good athleticism. My favorite part about him, though, is his moves as a pass rusher. He had a swim. He got skinny. He could push the pocket. He had a really nice spin move as well. There's a lot to really like about Riley Mills, particularly as a pass rusher. And that's really where his run defense is a bit concerning because he is a powerful player. He just couldn't understand gaps very well in run defense. I think he struggled there, particularly shedding blocks as a run defender. Really was not impressed with what I saw from him there. His change of direction was a little bit stiff at times, was not the most fluid in the hips. He's a good player, though. I like what he shows as a pass rusher, as an athlete. As a run defender, he shows some flashes, hasn't pieced it all together yet. But I've got him at number 8. Again, second-round player in this class for me. I think he's going to be a great player at the next level. At number 7 is a guy that I have not seen any of the other people talk about. He is fantastic. He is going to be one of my favorite players in this entire draft class. And that is going to be Tyler Onyedim out of Iowa State. Unbelievable. I turned on his tape and I was like, we'll see kind of what I feel about this guy. He's awesome. He is absolutely incredible. He's got a relentless motor. He does not give up on the play. He is fighting till the last whistle. There were so many plays, as you can see, he just played out of control sometimes and would end up on the ground. He would end up on the ground, get up immediately, and still find a way to get into the backfield and create pressure. He's got really good quickness and burst off the line of scrimmage with a number of pass rush moves, including one of the filthiest spin moves I've seen from any position in this entire draft class. He's fantastic as a run defender, consistently getting skinny between the tackles, getting into the backfield, and creating stops behind the line of scrimmage. He's got pass rush upside. However, his hands and his body can be a little bit stiff at times, doesn't really break out those moves consistently. And he had a really high missed tackle percentage of about 13%. Would like to see that get a little bit better. There were so many times he'd have a good angle and he just couldn't wrap up consistently. He's an awesome player. If you guys haven't turned on the tape, this is a guy I highly recommend looking into. I think he is going to be a really, really good player. And I've got him at number 7 on my list. At number 6, we got Dante Corleone. Now, he's a bit interesting. I don't know what his status is for next season. He's dealing with some blood clots that are have him sidelined indefinitely. So definitely something to monitor because that's really bad. But that being said, he's got great size in the middle of the defensive line. He's got a really strong upper body with a great bull rush. I think maybe the best bull rush in this draft class other than the number one player. He's got good burst, and he's a good run defender. Understood gaps. It was really good. Another guy who a lot of people thought was going to come out last year decides to go back to Cincinnati. I think as a straight line mover, Dante Corleone was fantastic. He had the power to put his head down and just do it. His lateral quickness was lacking. He didn't really move well side to side, didn't really move well in the open field. So that's a concern I have. And as a pass rusher, he just didn't show much, didn't have many moves, didn't really show much understanding of leverage there. But as a run defender, he's fantastic. He's a good athlete. He's strong. Health is going to be a concern, but this guy's put up unbelievable numbers over the last couple of seasons. If he can develop a couple pass rush moves, I think he's going to be awesome. I've got him at number 6. Now we're entering players that I think are first or second round caliber players that could go in the back end of the first. Number 5 is Kenneth Grant, the other Michigan defensive tackle. He's awesome, great size, and a pretty fluid athlete, all things considered. Another guy who just has really good hands as a pass rusher, which you don't really expect that from him. He's a fluid athlete, but he also did a good job of getting into the backfield and creating pressure consistently, which you love to see. He's a powerful player, though. He's got excellent power off the line of scrimmage. He's got a good bull rush. The issues really stem from one thing, and the reason he's not higher, he has the tendency to lunge. He just doesn't have the upright body that you'd love to see. He lunges, and then that makes him more susceptible to being overpowered and pushed off balance, which happened so many times with Kenneth Grant. And also, surprisingly, was not a great run defender. I thought he thrived as a pass rusher. As a run defender, I had some concerns about him. So we'll see kind of how he develops, but I think Kenneth Grant is a good player, and I've got him at number 5. At number 4, we've got Walter Nolan. I'm just going to go out and say I think Walter Nolan might be the best athlete I've ever seen. I think he is an unbelievable athlete. 6'4", 290. The length is tremendous. He's very versatile. Played off the edge for Texas A&M. Transferred to Ole Miss. He played off the edge for Texas A&M. He's got incredible quickness, incredible speed in the open field. He's got pass rush moves that haven't been put all together, but you could see them developing. He's a good run defender, penetrated gaps well. He's got good strength. He's an incredible athlete. I will say he did struggle to disengage at times because of a lack of really piecing everything together as a pass rusher in terms of moves. And he's at 290. If he's going to play full-time defensive tackle, I think he's going to need to add on some weight. Very curious what he's going to be like on this Ole Miss defensive line. This is a guy who was highly recruited out of high school, I believe the number 1 player in the country. And when you watch the tape, you see why. The athleticism is incredible. He is going to be a first-round pick, I think. I think he's going to climb up the boards because his athleticism is out of this world. And I think he offers a lot of versatility to the defensive line. So I've got Walter Nolan at number 4. At number 3, we've got Tyleik Williams. Now, I was on the Tyleik Williams train last year. I liked him better than I liked Michael Hall by a significant margin. He's perfect for the modern defensive tackle. He's got great size, a great length. He's got good burst. He plays incredibly balanced at times, which I love to see. He's a great run defender. He shows good hands. As a pass rusher, he does show hands to get into the backfield, which is another area that I am a fan of. He plays balanced, as I mentioned, burst. There's a lot of areas to really like. He's a very well-rounded prospect. I think he's just got to develop some pass rush moves and improve his angles as a run defender. His angles were inconsistent, overextended, missed tackles. Need to improve there. And then as a pass rusher, well, he's got good hands. That's really it. Doesn't really show a lot like a spin or anything like that that's really been pieced together. The upside's there, though, and just given all the things he does well, I think he could go without being a pass rusher because he's that good of a run defender. I've got him at number 3. if you guys have followed college football, you knew who the top two guys were going to be. The question is in which order, which to me, it shouldn't be a question. They're both top 10 players in this class to me. And number two, it is Deion Walker from Kentucky. This guy's got freakish size. I think he's 6'6", 350 pounds, and he does not move like he's 6'6", 350 pounds. He is one of the best athletes in this entire draft class. He just felt unblockable at times. His swim move was absolutely incredible. Showed a spin. This guy dropped back into coverage and got an interception last year. He can rush the passer at an elite level, and he's a solid run defender as well. I think he's got to improve his angles there, but he does a good job as a run defender, just closing gaps quickly because he takes up so much space on the defensive line. This guy's got quickness. He's got pass rush moves, run defense, the size. It's all there. Really, I think he's lacking power. The power concern for me is pretty big. For a guy this big, he should be able to win with a bull rush more consistently. He just couldn't do it. If it was a more physical offensive lineman, he was pushed off balance, and he really struggled to take on double teams. There were way too many instances where it just felt like if a double came, he was going to be taken out of the play altogether. So he's got to improve in those areas, but man, he's going to be a top 10 pick, I think. I think he's that good of a prospect. He's that good of an athlete. I've got him at number 2. Well, my number 1 defensive tackle is my number 2 player in this class. It's Mason Graham. I was watching, we all were watching the national championship where Mason Graham was quite literally everywhere in that game. And I was like, okay, this guy's on my radar. Holy cow. I mean, this guy is out of this world. He's a Jalen Carter level prospect. I've been saying that for a few months now. He's that good of a prospect. He's got the explosiveness off the line of scrimmage. He's got the strength. He's got an incredible bull rush. He takes on double teams extremely well. He's a great run defender. He's an elite block shedder. Whether that was as a pass rusher or as a run defender, he just shed blocks extremely well. He's got pass rush moves. He's got strength. He's got balance. Really, my only issue with him is his length. He's got shorter arms for the position. I feel like he could leverage himself a little bit better at times, but he still gets into the backfield almost every single play, it feels like. He was pushed back at times by like a more physical offensive lineman, but he was never taken out of the play, never pushed off balance, had a strong anchor. I put that in the cons because I really have nothing bad to say about this guy. If he was the number 1 pick, I would not complain about it. I've got James Pierce as my number 1 player. Mason Graham is number 2. He's fantastic. I think he's going to be an unbelievable player at the next level. That's going to do it for me in this video, guys. If you guys do enjoy, leave a like, subscribe if you are new. Stay tuned for next Saturday. We will have another position rankings going up. And then after that, we are going to start raking in more uploads, multiple uploads a week as we get ready for the college football and NFL season. Leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.